Hello everyone and welcome to another YouTube video. In this video we are going to create a simple banking system project that you can go further and maybe modify it accordingly. So I'll give you all the code needed for this project and hopefully you stay until the end to learn more. In today's video we are going to always start with declaring the variables. We shall start with the balance, all things connected to the banking system. Then we shall also need a pin. For this pin here, we shall just set a default pin of, let's say, 45667. Alright. And then we shall also need items for the pin. We can put these default items of 3. And then we shall also need history. No need to worry about what I'm doing right now. You'll understand it better as we go into the main banking system. These are the variables that I'm declaring earlier because we shall need them later during the code writing. For the history, we shall just leave it blank. So this is what we need. These are the variables we need. So the first thing we shall do, remember we are still under this pin authentication. We shall just write the program for the pin. So the first thing we shall start with, we shall introduce a while loop. In this while loop, the condition is going to be items. So items is the one guiding us. We shall say if the items is greater than 0, so that's when the loop will keep on running. So we say if items is greater than 0, then we allow the user to enter his or her pin. Then we say input. Then we say enter your pin. Enter your pin. So all this is done just so that we can check whether you are really the owner of this banking system or not. After that, we say if the entered pin is equal to the pin. So is equal to the pin. Which pin am I talking about? I'm saying if the entered pin, the pin the user has entered right here, is the same as this pin that we have declared here. What do we do from here? Then we tell the program you print access granted. So if you have entered the right pin, then the program will allow you to continue. And what we do here, we break to prevent the loop from running again. So this condition is only if you have written or you have made the right input for the pin. What happens if you write the wrong pin? So first of all, if you write the wrong pin, your attempts are going to decrease by 1. Remember, our attempts here, there are only 3. So what will happen, your attempts will keep on decreasing by 1 in case you don't enter the right pin. Then we print. So we use the F string, then we say wrong pin. And after we say attempts left. So then we put the attempts there. So this will tell you how many attempts you are left with. And then we can continue and say if the items are 0, what happens? Say if items uh, if the items are now 0, what happens? If the items are 0, then we print out uh, access denied. Access denied. So now we are done with the PIN authentication, the security of the banking system. So now let's go into the main banking system. This is only if you have entered the right PIN. So what happens here? We shall give the user choices. But so I can write my loop here. So the loop is just to allow you get the choices. So from here I have already written the list. So I'll just copy it here. So we'll have 5 choices. Either you want to deposit, you want to withdraw, check balance, transaction history, or you want to exit. Alright. So from here we shall introduce another variable called choice. What happens is this choice is going to be an integer, and then we input the user's choice, either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we tell the user enter your choice. So this is where the user will decide whether he or she wants to withdraw, deposit, or the check balance, or check the transaction history. And then this is now where we shall go to each choice or each option and put conditions necessary. So we say if the choice, we say if the user chooses option 1, what happens? Now if the user chooses option 1, first of all, the user will have to enter an amount, or the money that he wants to deposit, and this amount is going to be a float. And remember, your money can be 10,000.54. So because a float is a 2-digit number, a number with 2 decimal places. So we can input enter amount to deposit. So this is where the user will enter the amount he wants to deposit, and then from there we can now put the conditions. Remember, you can only deposit positive numbers, you cannot deposit negative numbers. So also those conditions have to be catered for. So the first thing we say, if the amount is greater than 0, what do we do? And the balance, or the current balance, will have to increase. So where do I get this balance from? This balance is what we declared up here. So currently our balance is always 0. And then when we deposit, the amount will be added to the balance. I think that is understandable. And then after depositing your amount, it will be reflected in your transaction history. So we say history dot append. This is just connecting the amount you have deposited to your history. Remember, our history is blank, so this amount is going to be reflected in the history. So we say history dot append, and then we use the f string. Then we say you have deposited, or we say deposited amount, and then we put the amount there, the amount that the user has entered, and then we close. Then after, we can combine both of them and say This is the message the user will see after depositing, and everything is reflected in the transaction history. So we said deposited, then we put the amount, alright, and then we can say, let's say current balance, and then from here we can open the brackets, then we put the new balance. That is understandable from here. And then what happens if the user puts a negative amount to deposit? So we also have to cater for that. Or it puts something else. So we shall say else. Then we print out invalid. Sorry. Open our brackets, the quotes, invalid amount. So we have catered now for all the conditions that are possible. So we have now put all the conditions for the first. So now we'll also put for the second. So we can come to this point here. Then we say else if the choice, else if the choice is different. Let's say the user says wants to do withdraw. What happens within there? So he will have to put the amount to withdraw. Amount equals, so amount is a float, and then input, and then we say enter the amount to withdraw. The amount to withdraw. So this is where the user will enter the amount he or she wants to withdraw. Then we can put the conditions. So you can only withdraw amount that is greater than your current balance. So we say if amount is greater, or if your withdrawal is greater than the balance. So this is our first condition. Then we say print insufficient funds. So your amount that you want to withdraw cannot be greater than your current balance. So we have catered for that condition. Then we say if the amount is less than 0, we also have to cater for that condition. What do we say? We print invalid amount. So you cannot withdraw a negative amount. Alright. So now in the last one we can say else. So this is where we shall do the calculations, and we say the balance. If now the withdrawal has gone through, we say the balance minus the amount. Alright. So this now if all things have gone well, if he has enough money in the account and he has not put any wrong value, so this is what will happen. The amount he has withdrawn will be subtracted from the balance, and then it will also reflect in the transaction history. So we shall say history dot append. Then we can put some writings inside there. We say withdrew. Then we can put amount here. This is the amount that you withdrew. And then you can also write the balance. We say current balance. And then we can also, sorry, we can put the balance there. And that is possibly it. And then we print out the last statement. We say, we use the F string. We say withdraw this kind of amount, and current balance is, then we put balance here. So these are the messages the user will see after going through the deposit, the withdrawal. So now to the third choice, check balance. So if you have to check your balance, we shall say elif choice. If the choice is 3, what happens? We shall print for the F string, then we say current balance is, then we put the balance here. Alright. So for this last, for the second last choice, the check balance choice, for it doesn't have conditions, you're just checking. There is no way you can do any other thing. So now let's go to option 4. We say elif. Sorry, this is supposed to be around here. Elif. For the elif, that is now, we say choice 4. Choice 4 is to check the transaction history. What happens there? We shall say print. Sorry, this is supposed to be down here. Shall say print, and then we say transaction history. Then, sorry, this is supposed to be in quotes, and then we write n here. Sorry, and this side. So shall say transaction history. So these are transaction history. And then we write. Now here there are some conditions. We say if not. We say if not in history. Alright. Then we print no transaction history yet. So if there is nothing which is inside the transaction history, if there is nothing here, or if the user just comes and checks transaction history without making any transaction, that is what happens here. If there is no any transaction, that message will be displayed there. And then we say else, so otherwise. So for this otherwise, we shall also put a condition or a loop. We say for transaction of transaction in history. So this is if we have made a transaction, what happens? We print transaction. Sorry, we print transaction like that. And then lastly, the exit condition. And so we can come back a little bit here. We say else, sorry, this is else if this is for the second last condition. So if the choice is 5, where does choice 5? So if the choice is 5, we are going to exit the program. So if the user chooses uh, choice option 5, we shall just print goodbye. Goodbye. Alright. Then lastly, if the user doesn't put any other, or he puts an invalid choice, let's say else. So this is if the user doesn't enter any of this. This is the last conditions. This is the last condition that happens. And we just say print invalid input. So we can put our quotes here. So we have written so many lines, but we have been through this, so I can just adjust this. So now this is just all the code you need for this simple banking system. So now this is the toughest part. We see whether the code really runs. So I can try to run this. I hope there are not any errors. Okay. So here it is telling me to enter my pin. Remember our pin here is what? Our pin here is 4567. So now let me first put the right pin 4567. So what happens? My access has been granted. Not the program is giving me choices to choose from. So let us deposit. So when I choose choice 1 to deposit, then they are telling me to enter amount to deposit. So if I enter, let's say 10,000, then I enter. As you can see here, I have deposited 10,000. My current balance is 10,000. So there is just small error in the spacing here. There is a small error in the spacing, but that is not a big issue. Our program is working very well. So now we try to enter another choice. Let's say we want to withdraw. So we already have 10,000 in our account. So we want to withdraw. So enter amount to withdraw. Let's say let's withdraw 5,000. Then we enter this. So it says you have withdrawn 5,000. Your current balance is 5,000. So that is 10,000 minus 5,000. You get 5,000. How about if I withdraw again? What happens? So let me withdraw again. So let me withdraw this time 1,000. Is here. I have withdrawn 1,000 and my current balance is 4,000. Alright, so our program is working very well. And then if I want to check my transaction history now, I have made a transaction here, a transaction here, a transaction here. So let me check my transaction history. So transaction history is 4. Then I enter this. So from the transaction history here, this is it. I deposited 10,000. I withdrew 5,000. Then my current balance was 5,000. Then I withdrew 1,000 again, and my current balance is 4,000. Okay, so we have tested all the choices. Then remaining checking balance. We can also check balance. So when I press 2 and I enter, and then it says, sorry, 2 is the withdraw. So let me just withdraw another 1,000. So it's here. I have withdrawn 1,000 and my current balance is 3,000. So now if I want to just check my balance without withdrawing, so that's option number 3. When I enter this, it says my current balance is 3,000 because my last transaction was here. And then let's exit the program. So we enter 5 to exit the program. What does it say here? It says goodbye. So that is just how things are working here. And then what happens if I enter a wrong pin? Can I try to run the program again? So let me first kill this terminal. So let me run the program again. Then we see what happens. So enter pin. If I enter, I remember our pin was what? Was 4567. This is our pin. So what happens if I write a wrong pin? Let's say 1234. Then I enter this. It tells me wrong pin. Attempts left. There are only 2 attempts. How about if I enter another wrong pin? What happens? It tells me wrong pin, 1 attempt left. So this attempt now is supposed to block me from entering the account. So it says wrong pin, attempts 0, access denied. So as I can see from here, it tells me to enter choice. So it has accepted me in, but it is denying me. So there's a problem with our code. So let me try to run through again and we see. In our attempts, in our program here, I've identified some small errors, some bugs. So we have this if is supposed to be in the same line with this. So I'm supposed to take it back, even this. And then lastly, we are supposed to exit from here. So this is our exit criteria. So from here now it's supposed to allow us to, so if you put wrong pin, it should not give us access. Let's say this, then this. So that was the only issue. As you can see, access denied, and it didn't give me these options of deposit withdraw. So our code is running very well. There is no issue. If you have learned something from the beginning of this video until now, make sure you comment it and subscribe if this video was helpful to you and you have learned new things. My advice for you is that keep on learning how to build projects, because you really learn a lot if you are focusing on a certain language. And so thank you for